habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. So it's like the same way that compound interest, accrues through finance, the effects of your habits multiply over time. And so often these choices that you make, they're these little 1% improvements for you or against you each day, and they're very easy to overlook on a daily basis, right? Like, what really is the difference between eating a burger and fries or a salad and chicken for lunch? Habits that are immediately satisfying are more likely to be repeated. And so pretty much any behavior produces multiple outcomes across time, right? Like if you eat a donut right now, it's tasty and sugary,
so good.
But in the long run, you gain weight. And so the immediate outcome is favorable, the long-term outcome is unfavorable. With good habits, it's often the reverse, right? Like you go to the gym right now and it takes effort, you sweat, you have to work hard. The immediate outcome is unfavorable, but the ultimate outcome, you're in shape and in a year or a month or whatever,
right,
is favorable. And so the challenge for building good habits and breaking bad ones is often finding a way to pull the long-term consequences of your bad habits into the immediate moment. So you feel a little bit of pain right now and want to avoid it. And the long-term rewards of your good habits into the immediate moment so that you have a reason to repeat it again in the future.
If you want to become successful in this world, you got to develop good habits. People that are not successful in this world, they develop bad habits, bad decisions, bad choices. You could be a millionaire. Now, we could define millionaire a whole bunch of ways, right? To technically be classified as a millionaire, we ain't even got to go to assets, right? We can do, I shouldn't say tangible assets, we could do non-tangible assets. And I'm not even talking about stocks, I'm just talking about building a company or a business that has $1 million valuation, right? And to build a business with $1 million valuation, basically you just have to multiply whatever your how much money you make off of the business a year times 3. So let's hypothetically say, and there's other formulas they use to classify millionaires, right? But the simplest one that they use is profits times a multiple of 3. So if you made $500,000, then your business is worth $1.5 million, right? That's one way you can do it. But anyway, guys, anybody can become a millionaire, okay?
People have 2 sets of resources, right, that they allocate. So they've got time and they've got money.
Yeah.
And so if you look at someone's bank statement and you look at their calendar, you know what their life is. And you can also predict where their life is going to be in X amount of years, right? And so if someone wants to change what their life is going to look like, you have to reallocate where you're investing the resources that you have. And so from a time perspective, people who are poor, in my opinion, spend a lot of time not doing stuff. And that sounds terrible to say, but like at the base level, they're distracted, they're
not doing the right
procrastinating.
stuff.
Right. Well, I would even say not doing anything.
Just distracting them.
Right.
Playing
Just
video games.
Netflix, etc. All that stuff, right? So there's like the base is like they don't do anything. They're purely distracting themselves from their current state, which is hard because it's hard to confront reality. If you're like not happy, it's easier to just distract yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the level above that is you've got people who are operating, they are working every day, but they're operating in low leverage opportunities, right? So they're doing things that do not give them a lot of return on their time, right? And so it's like I could work, it doesn't matter how many hours I work at McDonald's, like it's very, very difficult to become wealthy there, right? It's just near impossible, right? Mm-hmm. Versus like you could buy a building for $10 million and then sell it to somebody else for $11 million, just get the contract and make $1 million on the exchange. Super high leverage, right? From a time perspective, which is crazy for somebody who doesn't have money to even contemplate something like that. But the only way that happened, and that required no money, is skill, right? And so like that's an example of like it didn't require money to make that money. That's skill that's required to do that. And so first is the time, right? People are not doing stuff with the time that they have, or they're doing low leverage activities with the time they have. And then they're not trying to increase their output per unit time, which means investing in their skill set. So like one of the easiest ways to gain leverage on your time, and when I say leverage, just for everybody, like leverage is the difference between inputs and outputs in a system. So, Archimedes said, if you give me a lever long enough, I can move the world. And so to the same degree, if you have enough skills, you can do anything, right? And so skills give you leverage on your time. So you get more out of each unit of time. So if I'm a master cold caller, I will get more sales and calls booked for the same unit of time than somebody who sucks at it. Same time, more output, for people who are poor, it's because they actually don't see reality for what it is. Because the way they see reality, they see making money to be impossible or incredibly difficult, or it's only for a certain select people, not for them, right? And it's just because they literally cannot see it. And so I'm trying to think of an example of when, like, you can see something that, you know, an easier example is like kids and parents, right? Like a kid thinks the world is a certain way, and the parent's like, you just haven't seen enough stuff yet. And so, you know, as you level up in the entrepreneur space, there's also just more levels of that where other people are like, this is the perspective you need to have. And you're like, no way, that's possible. A lot of people were told things about the world that were not true, and they take them as fact. And so they're making their decision calculus off of something that is not true. And so they're making conclusions off of false data. And so that's why they can't see it, because what they're basing their assumptions on is false.
If you don't create a routine, you will be assigned one. If you don't create a purpose, you will be assigned one. If you don't create a career, you will be assigned one. People are too quick to adopt the structure that somebody else created to ease life's uncertainty. You need a routine. And if you think you don't, you may not realize that you have already been assigned one by society, or your routine is not having a routine. Without rules, there is no game. Without a game, there is no winning. A routine contains the rules for how you live your life. The longer you play, the better you get, and as you're getting better, you often forget the rules and win anyways. Now is the time to stop playing the game society told you to play and start playing your own. A powerful routine, no matter how long, prevents overwhelm as you progress towards your goals. Most people are progressing towards goals that were given to them. They are progressing the dreams of someone else rather than their own. Without a routine that you created, your life will slowly fall, faster and faster, down a chaotic hole into a life of responsibilities, work, people, and a personality that you despise. Routines are comfortable, and the mind craves order. Routines allow you to focus your attention when conditioned and programmed over time to make action seamless. This is why working a job sucks, but not enough to make you quit and pursue something that sucks more until it sucks less. Life is suffering, and you have the ability to choose what you suffer for every single day. Your goals are the axis of your suffering, and most people are pursuing goals that aren't their own. Their suffering doesn't bring fulfillment. You need 4 habits. One that builds your mind, one that builds your body, one that builds your business, one that builds your relationships. The good life is the process of becoming everything you could be. All of these domains of life are interconnected systems that create who you are and reverse entropy in the mind. Tiny improvements are what create an ordered mind. And so just to bring clarity to this, mind, body, business, relationships, that is what composes who you are. Those are the 4 main pillars that we have to peel back, improve, and evolve on a daily basis.